Lewis in the Black Horse Pub. Good morning and welcome again to Mirador Television. And we have to find a way of getting me on and this off. But it's I'm getting more used to it all the time. And as you can see, it's a gorgeous day outside as far as the sunshine is concerned. And one thing that we hadn't really thought about contending with. There's a wonderful bow window in this pub, and the sun floods in, the light floods in. But one of the nice things about it is that we can see life go past. You can see children going to school. You can see people hurrying to work. You can see them dodging behind a column for a quick fag. You can see them doing all sorts of things. And if you really want to know what everyday life is like, is sit in the window of the Black Horse Pub for about half an hour, and you'll get a whole panoply before you. We've just had the two Bs on, Richard and Philip, who have discussed, to all intents and purposes, what a constitutional monarchy means. And that's one of my areas of interest, constitutional monarchy. And so I was fascinated by it. But I'm sure that there are lots there that you didn't know, and that you didn't know was applicable to law. I bet you a few of you sat up because we're so used to sort of saying in debate, and I am with the Americans, is they telling us that our king has no power. But of course, that just demonstrated to you that indeed he does. It's just that it's one of those things that he has to be very careful about how he waves it. Unlike an American president who can seem to do things at a whim. Anyway, that's the past hour. What we're going to do this hour is to take a look at the news headlines, take a look at the weather, and then a couple of programs to take us up to 10:30, when indeed we will be going to the United States. But I think it is incumbent upon us to take a look at the weather, because it's always something that we need to be aware of, or always want to be aware of. You never know nowadays whether you're going to be greeted with sunshine like this or an absolute downpour. But indeed, right up until 4 o'clock this afternoon, we're going to have this sort of weather, sunny and light winds. It's not going to get as warm as it has been or as warm as it's going to be. Today is 11 degrees. Tomorrow is going to be almost 15 degrees. The only thing is that tomorrow it's going to rain, and Sunday it's going to rain. Well, a little bit of sun around, 1 degree less. Monday it's going to rain with a little bit of sun and a little bit less, 13 degrees. And then on Tuesday it's going to go back to 11 degrees before showing us its face again on Wednesday. But then it's going to go down to 9 degrees. So the lack of cloud cover isn't going to keep the heat in. We can expect a mixed bag of tricks then for this coming week. And until Wednesday, not a great deal of sun, or not as much as we would like. Having said that, you've got it today up until 4 o'clock this afternoon. And even then, there will only be some light cloud around before it clouds over this evening. And we get a spanking of rain at about midnight. So those of you who stay up late into the evening will see a bit of rain. Other than that, you can forget it. Now, Let's take a look at the papers, because whatever happens is we live in very unsettling times, as we discussed an hour ago, and we need to know on a daily basis, rather more than we normally do, what the hell is going on in Westminster, because it's very unsettling. The Daily Telegraph is Braverman, my plan to get Rwanda flights off the ground. And as the boys said, that could be very constitutionally dicey. We could actually aim for I'm going to move this around a bit if you don't mind, just to get the sun out of my eyes so I can read. Constitutionally, we could actually aim for a constitutional crisis. A former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, whose sacking has featured prominently in the news this week, continues to dominate many of Friday's front pages. The Daily Telegraph has a story on Miss Braverman's plan to get Rwanda flights off the ground. It runs her plans in full measure inside the paper. The front page also features a photo of David Cameron in Kiev on his first mission as Foreign Secretary under the heading Model Diplomat. Those of you who have already forgotten David Cameron, he's now new Foreign Secretary and off on his trots around the world to try and resolve some of the problems that they've got in other parts of the world, which are actually causing problems in ours. The Guardian, the Daily Telegraph is that was a story in the Daily Telegraph. I'm sorry. The Guardian, it goes away from international politics and even domestic politics for a moment. Senior female staff report sexual assault and harassment at the Ministry of Defence, and let's see, it touches on Gaza, it touches on Rwanda, it touches up home delivery and get up to 25% off, but its real story is about sexual harassment. It reports that 60 senior female staff have written a letter alleging sexual assault and harassment from male colleagues at the Ministry of Defence. A statement from the MOD inside the paper says it is deeply concerned by the complaints and is taking action to tackle the issue raised. The paper also has a story on Israeli hostages, Yehudit Weiss, who the Israeli military says has been found dead in Gaza. Well, from one ridiculous to sublime. I'm never sure about these assaults. I mean, it must be some man to actually assault somebody 2,000 times. Police, the Metro, police admit mistakes over tragic Gracie. We failed, stalked murder victim, it says. Is the Metro leads on a senior officer admitting the police let down Gracie Spinks, a 23-year-old woman who was stabbed to death by her stalker. The Times, hostage's body recovered near Al-Shifa Hospital, says Israel, but look for a job or lose the free NHS medicines. That's the lead story, and that's one of the important stories of the day. The Times has a story on government proposals to strip some benefit claimants who refuse to look for a job or undertake work experience of their right to free NHS prescriptions, dental care, and help with energy bills for a period. It also reports on how Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has admitted that ministers can give no guarantee that deportation flights to Rwanda will take off before the next election. Okay. Well, we'll go to the Daily Mirror next. That normally has got something to stir the blood. Oh gosh almighty. One of its leads is Profumo Scandal Exclusive. This was let's see, this took place in sometime around the 1960s, I think. in which the then Defense Minister, John Profumo, was involved with Christine Keeler and Mandy Rice Davis, two prostitutes who were also having an affair with the Russian defense attaché, I guess it was, yeah. And when it became obvious, they were told to fess up. The thing is that Profumo lied to the House of Commons, and that ended his political career. What isn't widely reported is that he then set about a life of public service and became a model citizen after getting caught badly in this scandal. Now the Mirror has got a Profumo scandal exclusive, and we have to find out what that's about. Christine Keeler's son. I'll clear Mum's name, he says. Justice chiefs could send models perjury case to appeal court in weeks. The Mirror has a story about the possibility of Christine Keeler being cleared of perjury due to new evidence. Keeler was a model who found herself at the centre of an affair that rocked the British establishment in the 1960s. I was right, it was the 1960s. There was much evidence given by all sorts of people, including Dr. Stephen Ward, who was a bit of a shadowy figure in as much as he would obviously introduce these hookers to figures of great importance. And there was some suggestion that they went to parties where there were far more than John Profumo at these parties, who were either well known or had a status in society. So she was wound up in it, always did protest a certain amount of innocence, and now her son is saying, I'm going to prove it. Mum has carried the can for too long. I imagine that there is at least some people in the establishment who are at least trembling a little at the thought that this is going to come out into the open again. The Daily Express. We must end this desecration of our war dead. The Express reports on MPs demanding that protesters who trample over the sacred memory of our war dead be charged. It comes after photos emerged of pro-Palestinian activists climbing on the Royal Artillery Memorial in Hyde Park. Well, it may seem petty, but to be quite honest with you, if you were standing on a beach sometime in the 1940s and were told that you were trying to fight for freedom and for decency, I suppose you would think the same way. And I'm just old enough to remember the troops coming home, and my own father amongst them. I feel the same way. Whatever you're feeling now about war or about society is actually desecrating the memory of somebody else, particularly when they gave their life. And they didn't have any choice. They went and they gave their life. They didn't say, I don't feel like doing that. That's not a very nice thing to do. And as a consequence, I'd love to see them get their comeuppance. Not that they will. We're all too liberal nowadays. We mustn't hurt people. Oh dear, oh dear. The Financial Times. Hunt eyes inheritance and business tax cuts in a bid to lift the Tory poll ratings. Now, this was yesterday's story as well, that Jeremy Hunt is thinking of cutting taxes, that he's got a windfall in from, I think it's from bonds, and he's going to do just that in the hope that it'll swing the Tories' fortunes. The Financial Times reports that Chancellor Jeremy Hunt is considering announcing plans to cut inheritance taxes in the autumn statement. It also has a story on Mars buying alien chocolate business Hotel Chocolate for about £534 million. Well, I didn't happen to have that in my pocket, or I bought it myself. Rather fancy a Mars bar from time to time. But there you are. Let me just make sure that we're still, yes, we're a bit bathed in sun, and I do apologise for that. But we'll motor on regardless, as long as the technicals hold up. Just for those of you who like this sort of thing, it is now 9 hours and 40 minutes into the 17th day of the 11th month in 2023. Well, they're throwing out some Christmas carols on the internet. If you want a free Christmas carol, you can go there and find one today. The Sun, it banners the Cheltenham race meeting, the November meeting, but its main headline is "Cops warned, saying policeman is illegal." Oh my goodness me, we're right back to this again. I thought that we had an anti-woke minister appointed. This gets beyond. I don't mind if you want to call yourself a policeman, or you want somebody else to call him a policeman by saying you want them to call him a policeman and call him a policeman. But don't kick the rest of us because we use what is a very, very beautiful and lovely language. That's the way I see it. And I wish you'd just keep your bloody great boots behind. You look ugly enough in those boots, you know. I don't understand why anybody wears them. They are ugly, 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 ugly. And they, to me, it may be my words that offend you. Your boots offend me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call for everybody who wears black boots to take their boots off and walk in the street in socks. And then I'll call you police, not policeman. All right? Is it a deal? No, I didn't think so. That doesn't fit into your category, does it? Doesn't fit into your philosophy. Ha 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 ha! Black boots. It's a wonderful poem. I can't remember who's by, but it's a northern poet, and it's called Brown Boots, and it's all about Uncle Joe or somebody going to a funeral, and they haven't got any brown boots to wear, so they wear. They're black boots to wear, so they wear brown boots, and the poem is all about that. Well, I feel the same way. You know, is if you wear those damn great clob polymers, first of all, it makes you look very unattractive. I'll tell you that straight away. So it must be something spiritual between you and whoever is willing to take you out when you're wearing the black boots, and that goes for either sex. So don't get on to me about feminism or anything. It's PC gone mad, says the Sun. Oh, perhaps somebody taking my point, my side. Yes, it's PC gone mad. The Sun leads with a story about a police force warning staff that using the word policeman could be breaking the law under the headline of "It's PC gone mad." Well, first of all, there is no specific law that's been passed. So whoever the police are, that doesn't inspire me with a great deal of confidence that if they pull me over for a traffic offence, then it would be accurate. The police can't go around. And in fact, we just had an instance this morning where Ada, the work lady, the cleaning lady, a lovely, lovely lady. And do you know something? When she comes in here in the morning, she phones home and she says to her children, "I love you." That's absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But this morning, she put out some toys. She put out some toys on the wall outside her flat, knowing that the bin men would pick them up and probably, if they needed reconstituting, they would do so. But that they would be able to distribute them amongst those who don't have as money for toys or as many as Ada's children had. And what did she get? She got a Jobsworth who yelled and screamed at her and said that she would be fined £400 for fly tipping. That's what's gone mad, that we allow these sort of people to continue to be employed. He should be identified and sacked straight away. I think it was a he. Yes, she said a he. He should be sacked straight away. And if I had my way, because I can be an authoritarian bugger when I want to be, I would then put him on the searching for work, and until he found it, be denied some of his benefits, as indeed the government is planning to do. Yeah. Let's see if I do that. Do I do that convincingly? Yeah. Oh, reasonably so. Yeah, can't complain about my performance there. The Daily Mail is as more migrants risk their lives in flimsy boats to reach the UK. At 7:32 a.m. yesterday, another one came ashore. But the main headline is unelected lords plot to block the Rwanda law that could end scenes like this. And it uses the same picture of the rubber boat landing for its main source. 9:58 a.m. yesterday. The Daily Mail has a headline claiming unelected lords plot to block Rwanda law that could end scenes like this, with photos of people on a migrant's boat in the English Channel on Thursday. Well, we just spent an hour talking about what is legitimate in terms of constitutional law, and I don't think that it counts that the laws are unelected. They are part of our constitution, part of our makeup, 3 tiers of government. So it's wasting its time. Who is this again? Is it the Mirror? Was it? Oh, the Mail. Oh, the Mail. You're wasting your time, your Mail. What you've got to do if you're against this is find some other way. But it's just saying that it's unelected lords isn't good enough, I'm afraid. It's not going to carry any weight with the courts, and it probably won't carry any weight with Parliament. The Eye. New benefits crackdown if the jobless don't accept work. Well, this is the second time that this story has appeared, and this is in the Eye. The House of Lords may block Sunak's Rwanda plans, fears train strikes could disrupt Christmas. Oh, no, not that again. Sebastian Payne is a proper conservative. Proper conservatives want change. I have no idea who Sebastian Payne is. And Yasmin Al-Limai Brown is the Kate listed. The story is on page 21. I thought it said FBI. Kate Lister on page 23. All right, so let's go to the Sun and see what it has to say. The Sun. Sorry. No, it's not the Sun. It's the Daily Star. It's my favourite Daily Star. £190,000 a year bank chief complains about workers getting half a decent pay rise. The Plank of England, it says. The Plank of England, and it points a picture or an arrow with the Plank of England on it, a story about an economist at the Bank of England who has suggested that recent pay rises across the UK could risk fueling inflation. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, let's come back to just take a look at you, and you take a look at me, which is less nice than the other way around, I think. But nonetheless, the sun is still streaming through. I've still got some of Age's coffee left. And all in all, we are in a very, very happy circumstance here. So reading doom and gloom and toil and trouble, position on a Friday, where we're looking forward to a Saturday, but even more so, where we're looking through a day that the sunshine is going to last until well late afternoon. Interfering with me, actually, but still, I'm willing to put up with that. If we're going to have sunshine right through to the afternoon, then I'm perfectly happy. and let me just take a moment or two before we go any further, is to say that we are now broadcasting courtesy of the Black Horse pub. We were broadcasting from the White Hart Hotel, and very kind and generous they have been to us, we may say. Not only Cliff and Sally, who own the joint, but also the staff there, Jane and Shannon and Cliff. It's another Cliff. How silly. And they are all terribly, terribly good, and they've looked after us. And have they booted us out for some misdemeanor? No, they have not. What's happened is that they have sold that hotel to a new group who moved in. Literally, the bulldozers came in after they moved out through the back door. And it is now being refurbished, and it's going to take about 3/4 of a year, apparently, for a celebrity chef who is going to open up a super duper restaurant, and also a boutique hotel to be associated with it, and is not going to tamper with the listed parts of that building which house Tom Paine. So that's why we are out in the cold, but not in the cold at all. We are in through this pub's door, and it is about 1830, 1840, I believe. So we are into another historic studio with the same sort of support staff. It's absolutely incredible that we get such nice people to look after us, and God bless them for it. We have 16 pubs left in Lewes, I think. But believe it or not, in about 1850, we had 63. Some people have stretched it to even 73, and 17 breweries. Some people have stretched it to 19. And that was the state of play in the brewing trade and the drinking trade in 1850. And not only that, but we were only a population, this town, of 9,000 people. Wow! Absolute bliss, absolute bliss. But it's not as one would think that our ancestors were heavy drinkers. On the contrary, they weren't. What they were was very, very bad at unpolluting the water. And if you took a sip of water in Lewes, it was as sure as hell death sentence. And so people drank beer. And we needed 63 pubs to serve everybody, because these pubs were tiny little affairs. Some of them no more than a front room. But everybody had to get to a pub. The beer was very weak. The children had beer as well. They didn't all go rollicking in the streets. They enjoyed their pint. But also, it's easy to throw monitors for social health, but social health has improved sufficiently that one of the other reasons that they went to the pubs was that the houses that they lived in were very drafty. They were not at all weatherproof. So Dad would say to Mom and the kids, "Okay, it's cold. Let's go and get warm at the pub." And down they would trek to the pub, which is warmed both by big fires, but also by accumulated body heat. And so you would spend the evening in the pub. Why did I start to tell you that? Oh, that's right. Because I think that the Black Horse started its life somewhere around that time, and would have housed the people who couldn't drink water. I mean, I think that's a wonderful. It's like the start of a novel. The people who couldn't drink water. I must remember that one, I think. But that is the reason. That's a historical reason. I'm not fabricating. It's not a tall tale. Not one of Keith's tall tales. And as a consequence, we should remember, when we look fondly at our 16 pubs, the ones that are left, why they were constituted, why they existed, and what useful social purpose they used. And instead of treating them rather shabbily, which we do at the moment, hit and miss, and and full of complaints. There we are. That's enough of that. All right, let me run back over the news, and let me also just alert you to the fact that this weather that you'll see as you look out of the window, beautiful, beautiful weather, is going to last for the whole day. Wish I could say it was going to last for the whole winter, but it's not. It's going to last for the whole day. Let's just review then some of the things that we may not have covered in the first instance of the running through the newspapers. The Daily Telegraph leads on Suella Braverman's proposals to get flights carrying asylum seekers to Rwanda off the ground. In her article for the paper, she sets out a 5-point plan. I was going to say free. 1, 2, 3. 5-point plan she believes can get the policy back on track, including recalling Parliament over Christmas. In an opinion piece, the former Brexiteer Minister, Lord Frost, backs Mrs. Braverman's approach, saying there can be no half measures now. The Daily Mail agrees. On its front page, it has photographs of 2 dinghies in the Channel. At low water on Thursday because of the number of people on board. The paper says the pictures are a stark display of the rationale for stopping the boats. In the Times says the government is facing a storm of criticism after it admitted there is no guarantee the Rwanda flights will depart before the next general election. In the Daily Express, Esther McVeigh, who has been called Rishi Sunak's new Minister for Common Sense, defends the Prime Minister, saying he was straight out of the blocks after the Supreme Court's decision ruling, which it said is illegal. But the Daily Mirror asks why ministers won't give up what it calls a batty plan. According to the Financial Times, Chancellor Jeremy Hunt is considering cutting inheritance and business taxes in next week's autumn statement. Sources have told the paper that new financial forecasts have given him the chance to do something eye-catching amid pressure from some Conservative backbenchers to deliver tax cuts. The Guardian has seen a letter sent by 60 senior women at the Ministry of Defence describing a hostile and toxic culture in the department. They say they have been sexually assaulted, harassed and abused by male colleagues. The MOD said it was deeply concerned by the allegations and was taking action. A number of the papers, is it taking action? Nobody suggested that they're guilty. It's just that there's an accusation being made, but they're taking action. God, we live in bad times. The Ministry of Defence has described a hostile and toxic culture in the department. They say they have been sexually assaulted. These are the women, harassed and abused by male colleagues. And the MOD said it was deeply concerned by the allegations and was taking action. A number of the papers covered Downing Street's plans to take what is called a whole state approach to try to get people who are claiming benefits back to work. The Express calls it a war on the work shy, but the Mirror opinion writers accuse ministers of following a well-trodden and cynical path. We must end desecration of our war dead is the headline on the front page of the Express, in front of a picture of pro-Palestinian protesters climbing on the Royal Artillery Memorial in central London. The paper calls for tougher laws to arrest the thugs, it says, are dishonouring Britain's heroes. The Daily Mail describes the behaviour as being deliberately provocative. The Sun leads the Sun leads with the headline, "It's PC gone mad," as it reports that a police force has warned its staff that using the word policeman could be breaking the law. The Sun's column calls Stafford police decision a woke joke, a theory that the princes in the Tower were not killed by King Richard III is covered in a number of papers. The Mirror says the solution to the 540-year-old mystery has been put forward by Philip Langley, the amateur historian who was responsible for the discovery of King Richard's body in a car park 11 years ago. She claims the boys survived into adulthood and became pretenders to the throne. But the Times quotes one historian who says the case remains unproven. Well, there we are. There's quite a lot in the papers this morning. Whenever you enjoy reading, I've tried to give you a little flash of them. And it is now coming up to, let's see, 10 o'clock. It is exactly 10 o'clock. So we will take another 3 minutes break. Then we'll take a look at a program which we've got lined up for you. And then we shall go to New York and Melissa to find out what on earth is happening in the United States. Let's hope it's not as bad as here. Okay. Go, 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 he says. Go, go, go. Well, let's do our nice black horse bit, shall we? Well, we would if we knew how. Oh dear. We're always pressing the wrong thing. But let's see, we should close that one first. There we are. There's the black horse. That's where we are at the moment. That's where we're broadcasting from, and that's where we will be broadcasting from for a little while yet, courtesy of Declan. Thank you for being with us. Stay with us and come back in 5 minutes. Go and put the kettle on, and then see us. From Lewis in the Black Horse Pub.